Hello and welcome to another edition of the Thursday Night Grind. My name is Matt, and tonight I want to cast a video out to you on geology tools. And there's a couple reasons why I want to present this. One is when I started the American Edge, which is my sharpening business, I had no vision of getting into geology tools. But as happens in life, you never really know the opportunities that lay in front of you until you start down a path of discovery. And geology tools have come up quite a bit. And another reason is, as the founder of the Guild of Professional Sharpeners, which you can learn more about at guildofsharpeners.org, where I'm helping people start sharpening businesses. When things like this come up, it presents a new opportunity for marketing, knowing that now we can do this. We have a whole nother niche that we can market to. And also because for the most part, the work that I'm doing on geology tools isn't the same precision type work that I would do, say, on a Sebenza, which was a previous video that we did, or a high-end kitchen knife or something like that. A lot of times it's just, these tools are used like bang against rocks and like digging dirt, and they just get banged up, and you just need to cut some metal back to bring an edge back or restore a profile. And for a lot of us who get into belts, it's relatively straightforward on a 1x30 belt sander. And in this case, I'm going to be doing a whole collection of masonry trowels. And but it applies to, I did some cold chisels a while back, and I'll try to, when I edit this, I'll try to find you a picture of what I'm talking about there. Cold chisels, sometimes called masonry chisels. The person that dropped them off called them geology chisels. So, but anyway, that way now, like if somebody came, if somebody approached one of the other members of the guild and said, "Hey, do you sharpen, geology chisels?" Now they know that they probably do. But until you start learning this, you might not really know, like, oh shoot, like what's a geology chisel? So anyway, tonight is it's a big collection of trowels. Think of like a masonry trowel, and I want to show you how I'm choosing to do them. I'm going to voice over here in a minute, but one other thing to know here is when this stuff like this comes up, I try to really have a conversation with the owner of the equipment. And the big question is like, what do you really want, right? Because I could put a 6,000 grit finish on these trowels and like use them to slice, like they might slice like newsprint. That's probably not what they want. And in the conversation, you discover like it's not what they want. They just want they want an edge back so it'll work a little bit better in the dirt. And if they like hit some like rooty, weedy things, like they can, whack it a few times and it'll come, break that up. So anyway, stay tuned to see how I am choosing to go about these masonry trowels. And if you have any thoughts, additional insights on any of it, please make sure to leave it in the comments. And if you derive any value from this video, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the thumbs up. Thanks so much. All right, so the first thing we need to talk about is the belt selection. And I feel like this is where we as sharpeners can set ourselves apart from any Joe Schmo in the garage. And like we got these sweet belts right there. I got the Norton Blaze. I got to get some material off of these, and for that reason, I'm getting down into the 60 grit region, ceramic belt, and I got the Norton Blaze on top here. So let's go with those. Here's a close-up, and with that belt fired up, checking my dust collection here, turn the volume down for you. And the angles, right? The angles, I've done a few. It took me a little bit to find the angle that I like. There wasn't one to match on them per se. On a couple of these tools, some handwork had been done, but I'm ultimately leaning around the 40 to 45 degree mark for these. Again, the objective is not like screaming, blazing sharp. It is to form an edge and to have it be relatively durable while this thing is getting pushed through the dirt. So 45 degrees, grinding against the platen. And grinding, I don't know if you saw me just check there with my finger, checking for the burr, but a moderate amount of pressure, got to get some material off. My hand is on it, I'm monitoring the heat, checking for a burr, and we got a burr. Now let's just make them look good, right? So at the tips, especially you want them to match nice. So nice little touch there, check it out. Oh, maybe a little more there. All right, yeah, right at the tip. Okay, good stuff. Blend this side in. You can see that belt just pulling steel off there. It's awesome. Dust collection's going. Did I mention that? Like, man, this would, if you didn't, you're pushing this all into your garage. You're gonna wish you hadn't. So anyway, now all we're doing is cleaning it up and checking that burr. Let's go over to the wire wheel. I got to hire a new camera guy, but anyway, I put the burr up on the flat side. On this one, I spoke about this with the customer too. One side is beveled, leave the back side flat. So on this 60 grit, I just put the burr up on the flat side. I'm gonna go to a 120 grit belt after, so for now I just use the wire wheel to push the burr back onto the bevel. And here's a little different style tool, trowel that I'm working. And again, I spoke about all this with the customer, but we're gonna sharpen that side, the front, and the other side. Checking for the burr there. Again, a lot of, just illustrating again that I'm grinding against the platen. I'm not like leaning on it, right? Like I am letting the belt do the work, but I'm also applying a moderate amount of pressure, monitoring temperatures, checking for a burr. Burr is good. They wanted this square and the points to be corners. So without grinding a bunch of material off to bring back any rounded corners, I did what I could to keep them square. Again, back to the wire wheel, nothing fancy here, just pushing the burr back to the bevel, down one side, down the other side. I'm trying to get it so you can see it, but anyway, that's it. You can see the burr go right back over. So I spared you watching me change belts, but I got the 120 grit belt on here. One thing I wanted to point out is I decided to move up to the slack belt. I just feel like it's a little bit cleaner. This is really essentially a light pass, right? I built an edge. I'm refining it just a little bit on all three sides of this tool. And there's a lot of ways to do this, and I bet like none of us would all come up with the same way. But so here it's all been the same. I'm gonna push the burr back into the bevel. And then what I did is I grabbed one of my, my 220 grit stone for my Edge Pro, and on the bevel, I'm just cutting that burr off. Cutting the burr off, cutting the burr off. I mean, it's not like super clean because it's a pretty coarse cut at the moment. But then just to finish it, I probably put a little burr onto the flat side. So I'm going to push that burr back into the bevel. And then really using my rag here, not cutting my fingers, and I'm just like pulling off any of those little burr flakes and check it. It has an edge, good to go. Moving on to the diamond shaped trowel. Kind of the same thing, slack belt, pretty light pressure. Just refine the edge, pushing the burr back to the flat side. Dust collection's going. You see it gets sucked right in there. It's good stuff. All right, push the burr back into the bevel. Mindful at the tip there. Taking I did soak this stone too, just so you know, like soaked it, clean that burr off of there. I'm gonna push a little burr back to the flat side and weaken that flaky burr with that wire wheel. Use my rag to pull it off. All right, so this trowel is like, there's an edge. Okay, I hope that helped you out. If for no other reason than to give you confidence when tools like this come up in your own sharpening service, or just to give ideas and maybe grow your business out in a different direction. So remember, if you derive any value from this, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and stay tuned for future Thursday Night Grinds. Thanks.